Welcome everyone. I will show a real demonstration or real application of some method by which we can determine the order of a reaction. In the earlier slides I have shown you what is the order of a reaction and how to determine the rate and what are the different methods that we can apply like differential rate law, differential integrated rate law to determine the order of the reaction. Here it is the actually practical way I will show you how we can determine the order. Okay. And you know that the spectrophotometer, UV visible spectrophotometer, which is a very common and cheap instrument actually, which is present in every lab and research lab and MSc or MTech labs. So, very useful instrument spectrophotometer, and it is very much useful, as I have told you in the maybe first lecture or means 11th or 12th lecture, that absorbance values we can use to determine the to actually see the progress of the reaction, to monitor the reaction, the progress of the reaction. So, here I will explain those things in a simple way so that you understand. Now, what is a spectrophotometer? First thing we have to know, here you can see that three famous scientists. The first one is Thomas Alva Edison. You know that the bulb, he is the first, he has invited the bulb, electric bulb, okay, Thomas Alva Edison, and which is also used in the spectrophotometer, not that bulb, but the principle. Okay. And then you can see the Sir Isaac Newton, who has discovered the dispersion of light. You know that when white light is passing through a prism, you can see you can see the dispersion, and then you can see 7 different lights. And then Einstein, you know, photometer, you know that Albert Einstein got the Nobel Prize for this photoelectric effect. Although his most famous discovery is Gauss-Dempsey square, but this is not experimental thing, that is why he did not get Nobel Prize on that, but he got the Nobel Prize on that photoelectric effect. Okay. So, this is the application here. So, basically all three scientists' contribution are here in spectrophotometer. What is a spectrophotometer? It is basically spectrometer plus photometer gives a spectrophotometer. So, spectrometer, you know that first thing is the light. Light is leg, like a man cannot walk without a leg. So, it is like a leg. So, the bulb, bulb is the source of light, and here actually for the visible light tungsten bulb is used, and for the UV source hydrogen discharge deuterium lamp or maximum deuterium lamp is used. Now, second part is the diffraction grating, that means the light is dispersed in different wavelengths, light with different wavelengths. So, previously prism was used, but now diffraction grating is used. Now, here you see different lights are coming, and then it passes through some solution, and where the light is absorbed, and then the photometer is coming. So, photometer is coming to monitor the light, to it is like a brain with eye. Okay. So, there are three parts. One is the leg, that is the lamp part, and then heart, that is the spectrometer part, and then photometer part, that is the brain with the eye. Anyway, so this is the by simple way I can tell what is the spectrophotometer. Now, the principle of this measurement in a spectrophotometer is governed by Lambert-Beer law or Lambert law, Beer law. This is a combination. When a light passes through a medium, then three things can happen. So, first thing, the absorption can happen. If I0 is the initial intensity, then absorption of light can happen, then transmission of light can happen and reflection can happen. But if you think about a very good air glass interface, then you can neglect, because it is below 5%. So, you can neglect the IR, that is reflection part, and then it is basically the I0 is a combination of I absorption and I transmission. So, what Lambert said, this is actually Lambert-Boger law, but it is more famous as Lambert law. What it is said, that when monochromatic light passes through a transparent medium, very important, when monochromatic light passes through a transparent medium, the rate of decrease of intensity with the thickness of the medium is proportional to the intensity of light. So, this is the Lambert law. Okay. So, according to this, it can be said in another words also, but according to this, we can say that A, which is nothing but log I0 by IT, which is proportional to T, okay, which is proportional to T, and Beer, another scientist, he extended this. Beer later applied the theory to solutions with different concentrations. So, by combination it is called Beer-Lambert law. So, this is in a medium and this is Beer law in some concentration with different concentrations. So, it is basically solutions, okay, with different concentrations. So, when you combine these two, then it will come as log I0 by I2, which we call at absorbance. Absorbance is log I0 by I2, A is epsilon into C into T. This is the combination, this is the Beer-Lambert law. So, what is C, what is T and what is epsilon? T is the thickness, okay. C is the thickness, T is the thickness, it is not time. T usually we mean time, okay, but here it is not time, here it is thickness, and C is the concentration. This is coming from Beer, this is coming from the Lambert, and then epsilon is a constant. It is called molar absorptivity or absorptivity, depending on the how you express the concentration, okay. So, absorptivity, or previously the name was extinction coefficient, now it is called absorptivity, okay. Now, in the spectrophotometer we apply this principle, and there in most of the spectrophotometers this T is 1, this is the cell length, path length, okay. Path length, this is T, thickness of the cell that we use, it is 1, okay. Now, because it is a linear equation, so absorbance value can be related to concentration, because T is constant, T means cell, the path length we are keeping constant, this is 1 centimeter, okay, and C we are varying, okay. So, absorbance value will be varying with C value, and it is a straight line equation passing through the origin, okay. So, this is called the Beer's law calibration. So, when we do the calibration, it is called Beer's law calibration, okay. I will show you. Now, taking some specific example, okay, this is a very important reaction and has now become a benchmark reaction, okay. What is that reaction? You see those who are from organic chemistry background, they all know that this is nothing but nitrophenol, phenolic OH, this is a benzene ring, this is an OH group with the benzene ring, if there is an OH group we call it phenol, and in the phenol moiety there is another NO2 group attached in the benzene ring, that is why it is called nitrophenol, okay, nitrophenol. Now, instead of nitro group, if there is amino group, then it is called aminophenol. Okay. So, this is nitrophenol, this is aminophenol, and here when you put, because phenolic OH group you know acidic, so this hydrogen can be taken out by alkali, okay, and then when it is taken out by some alkali, it becomes O minus. Then instead of phenol we call it phenolate, phenolate okay, O minus, this is phenolate. So, it is nitrophenolate, and why the 4 is coming, because with respect to phenol group it is the 4th position. So, their relative position is 1 and 4, that is why 4. Now this is the spectrophotometer. Using the spectrophotometer I showed you the schematic drawing for spectrophotometer. The light is passing through the prism with different lights, monochromatic light, it is dispersion, and then it is passing through the medium, that is some solution which is kept in the cell. Okay. Let me go back. Here this is the light source, and then it is passing through a prism. So, different lights are produced with different wavelengths, and then it is passing through a medium. This is the cell actually, and this is the 1 centimeter. After that the absorption of light is measured. How much absorption occurred, which light, how much absorbed, that is measured. After that this curve, this is called absorption spectra, spectrum 1, if it is 1 this is singular number spectrum, and if there are many, so it is called spectra. So, 4-nitrophenol, what we are doing actually, we are reducing the nitrophenol to aminophenol. This is reduction, nitro group is coming to amino group, so this is reduction. So, we are reducing nitrophenol to aminophenol. This can be done by hydrogen gas, zinc HCl, which produces hydrogen gas, or we can do it by a strong reducing agent borohydride. Although this reaction is thermodynamically feasible, but it is very slow, kinetically it is slow. So, whether some reaction will happen or not, that will be decided by thermodynamics, chemical thermodynamics, and how fast it will go, that will be decided by kinetics. Okay. So, here the reaction, if there is no catalyst, only sodium borohydride, then the reduction is very slow. It is possible, but it is slow, it takes maybe 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. Now, if it may take long time, okay, but if we put some catalyst, then it becomes faster. Okay. That is a separate chapter, catalyst I will discuss in next module. Anyway, so you should know it, otherwise you will not understand. So, this is basically we are doing nitrophenol reduction to aminophenol by using the catalyst, iron 0 nanocatalyst. Okay. Now, this is the spectrum of nitrophenolate. Nitrophenolate, why? Because as soon as you put the borohydride, the medium will become alkaline. So, nitrophenol will be automatically converted to phenolate. That is why the spectra you are getting, this is absorption spectra of nitrophenolate. Okay, nitrophenolate. Now, you have started the reaction by using the catalyst in presence of borohydride, which is a reducing agent. This is the 0 time, this is the spectra of the 0 time, you are doing it in the spectrophotometer. So, this spectra you are obtaining, it is called absorption spectra, you are getting in the spectrophotometer. Okay. Now, you see here 0 minute and this is 12 minute, it is going in this way. So, this is the 0 minute spectra and slowly it is going down. So, this is the 12 minute spectra. Okay, this is. So, nitrophenolate, actually nitrophenol, but nitrophenolate, it has already converted into nitrophenolate. This nitrophenolate has the absorption here. Okay, absorbance, what is absorbance? I already discussed here. This is the absorbance, A is the absorbance, this is nothing but log I0 by IT. Okay, so log I0 by IT you are putting log I0 by IT you are not putting, actually instrument is doing absorbance, you are putting in against wavelength, because you are getting lot of different monochromatic lights having different wavelengths. So, you will get this. So, thus the maximum absorption occurs at 400 nanometers, okay, 400 nanometer. This is characteristic of the nitrophenolate. Okay. Now, you see here nitrophenolate is reduced to aminophenolate. Aminophenolate has no such curve, no such absorption, but aminophenolate occurs here, the absorption occurs here. This position we are not very much now interested, we are interested in here. How with time this peak is going down, that is important for our kinetic analysis. Okay. So, what we are doing? We have started the reaction, we are measuring the absorption spectra, we are getting different absorbance values at this wavelength at different times. Okay. Now, we are noted down. Okay, we are noted down at different times what is the absorbance values of nitrophenolate ion. Then what we will do? Before that, to know the concentration, I told you that we have to do some calibration curve. So, this is the calibration curve of 4-nitrophenol, actually 4-nitrophenolate in borohydride medium. So, you can see here absorbance value with different concentrations we have taken of 4-nitrophenol, and then this is the concentration of nitrophenol, and then different absorbance values we get, and we plotted it to get a calibration curve. This is a linear plot, this is the Beer's law curve, I told you, Beer's law curve. Okay. Now, once we get the Beer's law curve, then we can see here how it is good from the R square value, it is very good 0.99. So, it is very good calibration curve. Anyway, this is the calibration curve to know the concentration. If we know the absorbance value, we can tell the concentration from this. If we know the unknown solution, the absorbance value, we can easily find out the concentration. So, this is required to know the concentration of the nitrophenolate at different time intervals. Okay, we got some data at different times of 4-nitrophenolate after we started the reaction. So, it is under chemical kinetics. Okay. Now, after getting the data, we have made some table at different time intervals, different absorbance values. Okay. Now, we plot it. So, we know that if it is 0 order kinetics, if we plot concentration values, we have converted the absorbance values to concentration by using the calibration curve. Okay. Now, we are plotting C values against different times. Now, I told you, I already explained that for 0 order kinetics, you should get a straight line when you plot C versus time. So, you can see here very good straight line you get with the R square value 0.99, and this is the equation. Okay. Slope also you can get from here. Now, this is the 0 order curve. So, 0 order linear plot we are getting very nice with good correlation. Okay. Let us see other curves for other first order, second order curves. You see here first order curves, we know that we have to plot LNC versus time. Okay. So, same data set, but we are plotting LNC versus time. So, you see here it is not a linear curve, it is not following linearity. 0.94 is the correlation coefficient. So, it is not linear. That means it is not following first order reaction. Okay. That means our nitrophenolate reduction is not following first order reaction. Now, let us plot second order, okay, linear plot. So, in the second order plot we know 1 by C you have to plot against time. So, we have plotted it. Now, you see here this is also not linear. Okay. So, second order is also not followed. Okay. Second order is, so among the three, 0 order, first order and second order, we see that it is following very good linearity, and so we can say that nitrophenolate reduction by borohydride, in presence of catalyst. I am ignoring now the catalyst because catalyst chapter I will tell you later, I will go in my next module. So, but you just forget it now. So, nitrophenolate reduction by borohydride, it is following 0 order reaction. Okay. So, this way you have to first do the experiment. Here I have used absorbance values to monitor the reaction, but you can use different values like fluorescence you can use other properties also, but you have to need the plot. You have to need the plot, you have to get the data first, then you have to need to plot it against time. Okay, different plots you have to make to see which order it is following. This is the main theme for determining the order, and this is the integrated rate law. You have seen that I have used integrated rate law because those plots are these linear plots. I have already explained to you that linear plots for integrated rate law we are getting for 0 order C versus T should give linear plot, for first order ln C versus T should give linear plot, and for second order 1 by C versus T should give the linear plot. So, here we see that 0 order reaction is following, and of course, just for information, many catalytic reactions we see that, especially if it occurs in the surface, it is surface catalyzed reaction. Many surface catalyzed reactions they give 0 order kinetics. Okay. Now, you can tell me what is the need to know the order. Okay. Why we will tell the order, why we will determine the order? Because order is a very important thing for a reaction. Rate is important, order is also very important for a reaction, and you will see later also how it helps. Okay. So, I think you have got a good idea about the determination of your order by using some simple method, like here by using a simple spectrophotometric method you can use, and you have also got the idea how to do the calibration curve and what is Lamberts-Beer's law, okay, and what is the main component of a spectrophotometer, that also you understood, UV visible spectrophotometer. Okay. So, I think this is one good example of example to determine the order for a particular reaction. Now, from these lectures in module 3 we have learned that from this lecture we have learned that the 4-nitrofluoroanol reduction follows the 0 order reaction kinetics, and it is done by applying the integrated rate law. And from the lectures under module 3, that chemical kinetics, you know that what do you mean by rate of a reaction, order of a reaction, how to determine the order, how to determine the rate, and what are the different methods to do it, to know the order of a reaction. What is 0 order reaction, what is first order, what is second order, what is pseudo first order reaction, how does the rate or rate constant depends on the temperature, that also I explained, and finally I explained how by simple method, experimental method, actually practically you can tell the order of a reaction. And for the last lecture I explained, this is a very famous book. This is the Quantitative Inorganic Analysis by Vogel, famous person A.I. Vogel. You can read this book to know the spectrophotometer, what is spectrophotometer, what is the component, what are the different components, and what is Lamberts-Beer's law, what is calibration curve, all those things you can learn very well from this book. Thank you.